The following video is part of a series of videos being produced by ONPHA to provide general information about various building components and the preventive maintenance that should be undertaken to maintain them. Carrying out regular, ongoing preventive maintenance on all components and systems of your property is important, whether it is a large multi-residential development or a small site with only a few units. It's a known fact that having a preventive maintenance plan in place is, over the long run, more cost-effective than making repairs as components fail. The equipment that collectively forms the fire safety system in your building is one of the most crucial building systems you have. It protects not only the people that live in your building, but also the building itself. In this video, we will examine the basic components of a multi-residential building's fire safety system and review the ongoing maintenance necessary to comply with legislation and ensure a safe environment. Your building's life safety components must function when they are needed and therefore must be inspected and tested on a prescribed basis. The most common elements of a building's fire protection and life safety systems are emergency lighting and exit signs to assist in evacuating your building in case of an emergency or fire. Portable fire extinguishers to enable properly trained staff to extinguish a fire right after it starts. Fire alarm and emergency voice communication systems to announce a fire condition and facilitate communication between staff, the fire department, and tenants. Automatic sprinkler systems to suppress fires before the fire department arrives on site. Smoke detectors to assist in the early detection of fires. Carbon monoxide detectors to alert tenants to the presence of deadly gases, and emergency power systems or generators to provide emergency power in the case of power outage due to fire. The fire safety equipment in your building is covered by the Fire Protection and Prevention Act. Among other things, this act grants fire officials the power to enter premises to fight fires and to inspect premises for compliance with fire prevention regulations. Landlords must also comply with the Ontario Fire Code, which is the regulation under the Act. Residential buildings in Ontario are also required to prepare and implement a fire safety plan as part of their legal compliance. A fire safety plan is a document that outlines the evacuation procedures unique to your building. A proper fire safety plan must also be approved by the chief fire official at the local fire department. Ensure the optimum use of all life safety features installed in your building. Reflect all of the occupancies in your building and identify resources available to your residents. In properly maintaining the fire protection and life safety elements in your building, it is important to understand the difference between three basic terms. A check is a visual observation to ensure the device or system is in place and is not obviously damaged or obstructed. To inspect is to physically examine a device or system to determine if it will apparently perform in accordance with its intended function. A test involves the actual operation of a device or system to ensure it will perform in accordance with its intended operation or function. Ongoing checks of the fire safety elements in your building can be incorporated into your daily walkthrough. Perform a visual check of the following items for obvious damage or obstructions. Emergency lighting and exit signs must be maintained in a clean manner and kept legible at all times. Portable fire extinguishers must be kept accessible at all times. Sprinkler heads should be checked to see if they are damaged, corroded, greasy, or painted. Sprinkler heads and pipes in indoor parking garages can be easily damaged by tall vehicles or antennas. If damaged sprinkler heads are found, staff should notify the building's fire protection contractor. They will assess the equipment and advise you if the fire department requires notification that the system is impaired or out of service. They will also ensure any defective heads are replaced. There must be no obstructions around sprinkler heads that might interfere with their water discharge pattern. Sprinkler systems and their piping networks must not be used to support anything that will interfere with sprinkler performance, and sprinkler piping and hangers must be kept in good repair. Sprinkler control valves must always be kept accessible and maintained in operating condition. Exterior fire department connections must be equipped with plugs or caps and secured wrench tight at all times. Staff should make a visual check of all fire alarm and voice communication systems on a daily basis to ensure they are unobstructed. Components include the fire alarm control panel, annunciator panel, manual pull stations, heat detectors, and supervisory switches. Visually check principal and remote trouble lights on the main fire panel to ensure that no trouble is indicated on the system. Inspect the AC power on light or equivalent indicator to ensure its normal operation. Staff should report defects on a daily or ongoing basis. Any service or repair must be done by a qualified fire protection contractor. On a monthly basis, your site staff should check pilot lights on self-contained emergency power units to ensure proper operation. Power units must be inspected to ensure that terminal connections are clean, lubricated, and free of corrosion. Terminal clamps are clean and tight, and the battery surface is clean and dry. Also on a monthly basis, site staff should inspect all portable fire extinguishers and record inspection date and their initials on the extinguisher tag. This information must be recorded in the building's fire log book. Staff should check the following elements of each fire extinguisher. Check extinguisher nozzles for any obstructions. Check that the tamper seal is in place and check if the recharge gauge is showing an operable range. Site staff should report any defects. Any repair or recharge must be done by a qualified fire protection contractor. Once a month, one initiating field device must be checked, such as a heat detector or water flow switch, or one manual initiating device such as a pull station. All devices should be checked on a rotational basis. Smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, if installed, should be tested once per month on a rotational basis for proper operation. Depending if your building's fire alarm and voice communication systems are integrated, the following elements should be tested in each zone on a rotational basis. Firefighter's handset for clear two-way communication with the control panel. Voice paging capability and loudspeakers operated as an on-call signal. It is important that these monthly tests be recorded in the building's fire log book. While the tests can be carried out by properly trained site staff, it is recommended that they be done by a qualified fire protection contractor. On a bi-monthly basis, check the sprinkler control valves to ensure the pressures are in optimal range. If applicable, priming water levels for dry pipe valves must be maintained at the proper level. Any problems must be reported to your local fire department. Sprinkler systems in parking garages are usually pressurized with air instead of water to avoid freezing. With changing temperatures, however, condensation can produce small amounts of water in the pipes. This water should be removed by using special draining stations like this one, normally twice a year in the spring and fall. All emergency lighting, fire alarm systems, sprinklers, and extinguishers should be inspected on an annual basis by a qualified fire protection contractor. High buildings may have additional fire safety protection equipment, such as smoke control systems, which have special check, inspect, and test requirements. We've covered the many tasks associated with good preventive maintenance for fire protection and life safety systems in your building. Now let's summarize what we've learned. On a daily basis, staff must make a visual check for damage, obstructions, or trouble indicators on emergency lighting and exit signs, portable fire extinguishers, sprinkler heads, pipes, and fire department connection, and fire alarm and voice communication systems, including main control panel and pull stations. On a monthly basis, the following elements must be inspected and recorded in the building's fire log book. Portable fire extinguishers for obstructed nozzles, tamper seal, and pressure gauge. Self-contained power units including battery, terminal connections, and clamps. Field devices such as heat detectors or pull stations inspected on a rotational basis, and firefighters' handsets or loudspeakers. Check all sprinkler control valves every 2 months. Remember to schedule an annual inspection of all your building's life safety systems by a qualified fire protection contractor. Regular preventive maintenance of your building's fire safety systems will make sure that any small problems are detected before they become big ones. This means safe and reliable service for the people who call your building home.